part of our role here is to try to make sure that we reassure you that we are on this journey with you. And so we will be covering several grounds here. We have received your questions. And so we will make sure that we get to as many of your questions as possible throughout this session. But also please rest assured that this will not be the only time that you'll be hearing from us. We have lots of different ways that we'll be communicating with you. And we'll make sure at the end to talk to you about what you can expect next in terms of communication. And so with that, a couple of housekeeping. One is that we do have captioning live captioned. So you have the link to that here on the site. And so we invite you to make sure that you're aware of that. Again, I will begin with a couple of just sort of framing for you. And then we're gonna go through the different segments of our program tonight. First and foremost, I know that it goes without saying, what a year we've all had. I think as we can catch our breath and we begin to kind of plan for the future, I can assure you that on American University campus, there's tremendous excitement and trepidations about the fall semester and about the year ahead. And the first question that I'm getting from everybody is, will we be having a fall face-to-face? And the answer is yes, that is what we're planning for. We're planning for a fall return. We're planning that as a residential campus, it is incredibly important for us to be able to have our students here. And so we are planning for a fall return when it comes to face-to-face classes, when it comes to our residential experience and our housing, et cetera. The second thing that I think is on everyone's mind is health and safety. Having led the COVID response for the university, this has been a full-time journey for all of us. And I can assure you that health and safety is first and foremost on our mind. But we also know, as President Burwell has said in many communications before, we really are working with three major pillars. First, we're looking at health and safety. But second, we're looking at our mission of teaching and learning. And the third is looking at community, looking at the AU community, but also DC are responsible to our city, DC. So in response to health and safety, two things that I wanted to just start us off with. We have created and in many ways invested in a COVID testing lab. And that is a shared partnership with Gallaudet University, along with Catholic University and others. And so we do have the infrastructure in place for COVID-19 testing that allows us to be able to get test results back within less than 12 hours for the most part, because we know that it's incredibly important to have really to be looking at prevention, detection, and response when it comes to the pandemic. And so we have those measures in place here at the university. And so I wanted to reassure you about the fact that that is something that we have in place. Also, I think as we've all been watching the news and paying close attention to the vaccine, and there's lots of questions about the vaccine and where are universities on that. And I know many of you have probably read in the news that there are several institutions that have made the decision to require the vaccine. We've been closely studying that, and we're in conversation with the consortium of universities, along with other partners. And so we will be looking at this, and we'll be making an announcement about where we are in terms of the vaccine very, very soon. So I promise you that that is something that we'll be coming back to people about, is where is the university in terms of the vaccine. Key for us is accessibility and making sure that there's availability of vaccine. But we also know that as a residential campus, given the number of students who will be on campus, health and safety needs to be first. And we understand that the vaccine is a really important part of the health and safety tools that we have as institutions and also as a community. So just wanted to assure you about those things, that it is front and center of our mind, and you will be rest assured that you'll be hearing a lot from us about what we're putting in place in terms of health and safety measures. And so with that, we're going to be moving to, again, we're preparing for the fall. That's what we're doing. We're going to move to, some of the things that you need to be aware of as new students in terms of new students checklist. So I'll let my colleague, Ryan Gregor, speak to us about that.
Hello, everyone. Good evening or good afternoon or potentially good morning. Yeah, really, we've kind of developed what we're terming a new students checklist to kind of ease the transition for students and families getting into the university. And so one thing I would kind of direct you to is if you head to our website, www.american.edu/new-students, that is really going to be your best place to go to see sort of what you need to do in terms of checklist for the summer, let's say. So before you actually get to campus in late August, early September, these are all the things that you could potentially need to do. And so the nice thing about the checklist, it really lays everything out by month. So you can kind of see sort of month by month what activities you should be thinking about, what things you should be doing. If you go to the new students page itself, that's more of sort of a generic checklist. One of the really kind of the neat features about the checklist, if you look at the right-hand side of the slide, actually, this is a student's sort of personalized checklist. And so if a student were to sign into their MyAU portal account, and they should be able to find what's termed their new student checklist. And so they can actually go down their checklist, see exactly what they've done, what they haven't done, and then see what the steps are to complete that process. And so really we want to make sure that, families and students all have everything they need in kind of one place, one centralized place that they can easily access and kind of keep coming back to over the summer. So again, for most things you need to do, they're all going to be on the checklist. There's some other groupings where if you're a international student, there's things you're going to need to do above and beyond these things. But this is really kind of the checklist that applies for all students, no matter who you are. You're going to have to do more or less all of these things. And so we just want to make sure that families have that as you're coming in. So in addition to this, we're also sending out newsletters roughly every 2 weeks to incoming students and families. So if you're an early decision family, you've likely gotten a number of what we call these New Eagle newsletters so far. If you just deposited or just joined AU, thank you for that. And so you'll likely be getting one of these in the next coming days. And so really what we're trying to do with those newsletters is really kind of keep you up to date, again, with checklist items, but also with just things generally going on campus. What are some things to kind of to note in terms of your students' life? Maybe what are they going through as they're kind of transitioning out of high school into college, and sort of what are some of those milestones? What are some of those touch points that you might want to pay attention to? And so that's really kind of the point of those newsletters, is again, just to try to keep you up to date, but also kind of show you the road ahead as well. And so with that, I think hopefully you'll get everything you need over the summer, and we can't wait to see you on campus in the fall.
Hi, everybody. My name is Brianna Wiedock. I am the Director of First Year Advising. I've been here at the university for over 25 years, and I am actually a double eagle. I have my undergraduate and graduate degrees from American University. So if you have questions about any of that, I'm your person. I am here to talk to you a little bit about the Undergraduate Education and Academic Student Services Division of American University, under which lives the First Year Advising Program. So your students will be engaging with us quite a bit in their first year. The undergraduate education program, it consists of the AU Core program, which is our core liberal arts program. In the first year, students will take a complex problems course, which they will dive into complicated and current issues from climate to migration, justice, science fiction. And instead of trying to find answers to these complex problems, they'll learn to ask meaningful questions, which will carry them throughout their undergraduate career here at AU. Also part of the AU Core are a series of Habits of Mind courses. These courses explore and practice different methods of investigating ideas. So we have natural scientific, we have creative aesthetic, socio-historical, among others. And you can visit the AU Core curriculum website for all the details about all the kinds of classes that you would be taking and all of the required parts of the AU Core. Also included in the Undergraduate Education Services Division is the Academic Support and Access Center. This is a really important center under which we have academic support services such as academic coaching for any student. We offer supplemental instruction for courses like chemistry, economics, We offer tutoring through the Academic Support and Access Center. And then also importantly, under the Academic Support and Access Center is our disability services. So if you have a student who would need some learning accommodations, you want to get in contact with the Academic Support and Access Center and register for all of those accommodations. If we can go to the next slide, I will tell you a little bit about the first year advising program. So in the first year advising program, we have about 25 professional advisors who work with very small caseloads. So they are working with under 80 students, and your student will be one of those 80. Our goal in first year advising is to develop curiosity, resilience strategies, and bravery to explore all of their interests. We work with students to challenge them to take ownership over their own education and coach them through the rough spots. So we're there with them as they transition from high school into college throughout that entire first year. How we deliver these services is key. We teach the AUX 1 and AUX 2 courses within the first year advising program. These two courses are part of the AU Core program. In AUX 1, that course is designed to help students navigate social, academic, cultural, psychological adjustment to university life. So students will be one of 19 students in that class that is taught by their first year advisor. This ensures that we have weekly interaction with all of our students. It assists with facilitating a faster connection with students and advisors, and it can help to model what a mentoring kind of relationship looks like between faculty and students, so that we can help students get connected in meaningful ways to faculty later down the road. In AUX 2, we've created space for conversations and learning about race and social identity and structures of power. It builds a lot on the concepts that the students are learning in AUX 1, blending personal exploration of social identity formation with a multidisciplinary approach to race. This course is the starting point for the academic study of structures of culture and power and social movements that they will be building on throughout their time at AU. So when does our work begin with your student? We will begin reaching out to your students in May. Their first year advisors will be in direct contact with them in mid-May. We will be working with them throughout the summer. Registration will happen in late June, and between mid-May and late June, what we are doing with students is we're helping to ensure that they're taking all of the steps that they need to take throughout the new student checklist. We'll be working one-on-one with students and talking with them about their interests, majors, extracurricular interests, and ensuring that the classes that they choose for the fall are appropriate for their goals and making sure that they meet AU's first year requirements. One thing that I failed to mention is other parts of the opportunities for first year students, academic opportunities such as the honors program and the university college program and the community-based research scholars program. All of those live under the undergraduate education services division. All of them are what we call living learning communities. And the benefit to living learning communities is that you live with your classmates who are taking the same complex problems course as you on the same floor. All of these programs have events throughout the semester, guest speakers, embassy visits, social events like game nights and arts and crafts nights. They have concert and performances, film screenings. So there's a lot going on in our living learning communities. I would encourage you to check out the University College program. You can join by May 5th, and that application is live now. Also live now is the application for the AU Cornerstone program. This is a new-ish program. It has been at AU for since the fall of 2003 in various iterations. So the AU Cornerstone program is a program that your student can apply to either do a very mentored internship program in their first semester along with some of their coursework, or they can choose to study abroad in Bath in the UK in their first semester. Both programs satisfy parts of the AU core. Both programs are heavily supported with AU faculty and staff. And I would encourage you to look at AU Cornerstone and the University College if your student is looking for an in-depth and meaningful living and learning community where they will build a lot of community with their classmates pretty fast and have a very heavily supported mentoring kind of program.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jen Johnson. I am the Director of Orientation, Transition, and Retention. And I'm so thrilled for the opportunity to speak with all of you right now. Really excited is to tell you about our virtual orientation program. Last year, as most of the world pivoted virtual, we did as well. And we actually had such a successful summer last year that we made the choice that we were going to be planning since actually it was, I think Fonda and I met on August the 30th of last year, and we were planning for virtual this year. Some great opportunities is how accessible it is. So all of our students are going to be opted in to orientation. They will be assigned an orientation leader. They will be given orientation leader groups. They will have information about all the sessions sent directly to them. Family members, I can't opt you all in, but all of our information is going to be on our website and available for you to, much like a lot of these offerings that we've been having during this deposit period, that you'll be able to get that information and join sessions. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about our program. So one thing that's really great is our program is going to span 10 weeks. So the students are going to be able to build relationships with their orientation leader and one another. Students will also get to, and you all will get information as we have the best information available to you without getting that information overload. As sitting, through 2 days of content, and it's hard to remember it all. I like to say it's like trying to get a sip of water from an open fire hydrant. And because we were doing it in person in a small window of time, that's what we had to work with, but really excited, again, to move and continue to stay virtual. So we have a lot of components. First is our pre-orientation modules. So this is just a really high level overview of many of our university offerings. So we have support services, life at AU, academics, financing your education, policies and safety, super high level. So about 45 minutes, even if you wanted to go start to finish. And it is, you can have the link through our new student checklist, as Ryan mentioned. It's also on our website, and we have a section of our website saying, getting started, because we know you are ready to roll. Good news, family members, you also can participate in our pre-orientation modules. You would just log in as a guest, whereas your student would log in with their AU credentials, so their username and password. So that's how we can see that they're in there. And we really encourage your students, but also family members, to complete these pre-orientation modules before our program begins. So you can start jotting your questions down now. And also just know those websites that you may want to refresh before going to a session. So in higher ed, we call that a flipped classroom, where you sort of do the homework first, you do the reading, and then you come ready for conversation. So that's our goal with the pre-orientation modules. Then we have webinars and Zoom sessions. So we'll have some that are informational, similar to a session like this, but we also will have a number of social sessions. We'll have panel sessions where you'll get to hear from different offices and get to connect with one another. All of these sessions will be recorded and posted to our American OTR YouTube channel and available for you to view there. So if you already want to go to American OTR and press subscribe, then you'll have no doubt of when new videos will get added. But again, we will share that information this summer. Our webinars will kick off the first week of June. So students will have the opportunity to begin meeting with their orientation leader and their small groups beginning in late May. So as mentioned, all students will be assigned to an orientation leader small group. Student group sizes will be about 16 students. So they will be with these 16 students over the course of 4 orientation leader small group sessions. And then there's 2 other trainings that they'll participate in those small groups. So they'll have these weekly opportunities to connect with one another via Zoom, and it'll be more of a meeting. So they'll be able to connect with one another. Sometimes an orientation leader will pull up a website or just share a funny video, you know, how our students are and like to connect. So those small group meetings will kick off soon. We're actually making orientation leader assignments on a rolling basis. So you might receive, students will receive the name of their orientation leader, but we're trying to get our current students to finish their semester strong. So their official communication will not begin until the middle of May. So a lot of forward motion happening there. Quick plug to New Eagle Connect. So all of our deposited students are invited, or admitted students are invited to join a platform where it's going to be really ease communication. And so that will be a place where students will go to also connect on their small groups and with their orientation leaders. So a lot of information coming from my team. If you want to stay on top of things, our Facebook page, our Instagram, our website will be the best places to go, and we'll be looking to get as much information up there as quickly as possible. 2 more quick things. Mid-May to late May, we'll see how the Postal Service is going. You're going to get a box from AU. There's going to be a booklet, because we know how many people like also getting paper information. So we have a 2021 orientation guide that we've developed, and some other swag items. Let's say, I'm not going to give those away, but this book will also be available digital. So once we have that final, that'll be up on our website. And I know you're saying, but what about the in-person stuff? Well, we are just saying what's next, and we'll tell you about throughout the summer our All-American Welcome program, which is our kickoff of in-person events, orientation leader group reunions, campus tours, activities. But know that that's coming. Those will begin with move-in, and those will continue through the early weeks of the semester. And we'll tell you all about All-American Welcome in August, but the orientation itself is happening, and then the really big welcome for not just your students, but all of our students and faculty and staff will happen in August. So I'll keep my eye on the chat, and I will pass things to my Anne-Marie.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Anne-Marie Powell. I'm the Director for Dining and Auxiliary Services. And as you can see on the screen, Auxiliary Services covers a lot of different areas. We're responsible for the administration of the meal plan and also your one card, that one official card that it connects you to the university and provides access. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. And we take care of the university vending. So there's a lot of different pieces that the Auxiliary Services Department handles. But the first thing I want to talk about is that university ID card. That's going to be one of the things that will connect you to the university. It is more than just your ID card. It will be your room key if you're living on campus. It is also your key to get into certain buildings at different times of the evening. And it's the way that you will be able to eat. So it will have your meal plan on it. I strongly recommend that you start getting your best passport style photo ready. that you will send it to us by July 1 so that we can have your card ready for you. It's just a steady passport style. You can email that. It's being shared to you, the information of how you can go about doing it. And you go into your AU portal, and within your AU portal, you'll be able to upload your picture there. So we look forward to seeing all those nice smiling faces as you get ready to come to AU. The other part of that is, besides that card being your identification card and your access card, it plays an important role in your meal plan. It is where all your meal plans will be. All first-year students entering in the university are automatically defaulted to a 175 block meal plan. That consists of 175 meal swipes, along with $400 in Eagle Bucks. And how that works is your meal swipes actually are good for the semester. So every semester you get a new meal plan with another 175 blocks and $400. The meal swipes themselves are only good for the semester, the current semester. So from August to December would be your fall semester. And then from January to May would be the spring semester. The Eagle Bucks, however, stay with you as long as you're here at the university. So they carry over every semester. It's a nice way to utilize Eagle Bucks for things on campus, to do your laundry. Also, it's a way to purchase things in our campus store. And we realize that, besides eating on campus, you will also be like to go out and explore the city. So we have a large range of vendors within our community that you can go to and use your Eagle Bucks. So the Eagle Bucks are there for your convenience as another convenient option for paying for things. All residential students, as I mentioned, are required to be on a meal plan. The meal plan options, again, are the 175 block as the default. But if you find that you're a person that likes to eat a lot and wants more options of eating, we offer an all access plan. And there's more information about the plans on our screen. We also provide dietary needs. We have a registered dietitian on site. She will work with you on meeting any special dietary or medical needs you have that may retain to your diet. And also she'll help you in terms of just getting used to. It is going to be a change from eating at home. I know some of you are coming where you have great cooking going on at home. We offer great food and nutritional food also, but it's a change. It's sort of different and different taste palettes. And we also make sure that we're covering any kind of religious needs that you may have, whether they be kosher or halal. But we do want to work with you and make sure that we can meet your dietary needs. We want you to think of your dining program at AU as your kitchen away from home. All our dining is providing safe dining. With that, we've implemented a new mobile ordering piece. We have some areas such as our Terrace Dining Room, which is our traditional dining facility, all you can eat. It will be by reservation, so we keep everyone safe, that you can move around. And we have roughly around 13 to 14 different locations, from coffee to quick grab and go snacks in our C-stores to full meals. So a variety of different options available for you. And next.
So we're moving to housing now.
Good evening. Thank you so much for being present in our webinar. My name is Christopher Silva, and I'm the Director of Housing. And alongside our colleagues from Residence Life, we bring the wonderful experience of living on campus in the American University residential community. Nearly 4,300 students will come back to live on campus this fall semester, and we're very excited to have you. Our first year community, our first year students are primarily housed in Anderson, Letts, Roper, Centennial, or Hughes halls. We know that students may decide if they want to be part, or they may be invited to be part of a learning community. And students part of those groups, of those communities, live in all those residence halls, except for Centennial Hall. It's a different type of building design. As well as Hughes Hall, which for those who've applied to live with us in the past, perhaps students who have deferred, Hughes Hall is a new addition to our first year community buildings. So students and families have contacted us, and they've wanted to visit and to experience the buildings, which traditionally before COVID, and certainly we hope in the future to continue to have an in-person experience of tours. And so what we've done is we've provided a really detailed experience, a virtual experience for students and families to observe. That is all available on our website. And students can go to american.edu/housing to view in highly detail our rooms, all different aspects of rooms, as well as dimensions of cabinets, of rooms, and other amenities that we have available. So in terms of deadlines, right now, most students have already gone in and completed their housing application. That is wonderful. Thank you so much for doing that. Students are still able to do that until our priority deadline of May 6th, noon on May 6th. Of course, we'll still take applications after that. It's just that May 6th is our priority deadline, and we'll begin to move in with our assignments efforts after that. Between May 14th and May 31st, students will receive information on how to choose their roommates. So there's two ways that students can be assigned a roommate. One is they will choose somebody that they've known, perhaps somebody that they connected online, or perhaps a friend from back home. And as long as they're part of the same community, whether that is a learning community or in the general community, they're able to choose that person to be their roommate. If they don't know anyone, that is totally fine. Most of our students actually don't know others that they want to live with, and so they're assigned a roommate based on a roommate assignment process, which is part of our application, a way that we identify living preferences, sleeping preferences, study preferences. So we will do that roommate assignment also during that time frame. And so by June 15th, students can expect to receive their room assignment as well as their roommate assignment. It's important to note that students who need disability-related housing accommodations, they do need to work with the Academic Support and Access Center, which my colleague Brianna mentioned a couple of slides ago, so that we're able to best place that student, best support that student with an approved disability accommodation. We've received many questions and continue to receive many questions from students and families about move-in, about fall semester move-in. What is that going to look like? When is it going to be? When will I be able to select my specific move-in day? Don't fret that we are working diligently every single day on best planning that effort right now. We're very happy of the positively, moving health and safety situation in the US, in the district. And so that is helping us plan the best move-in effort. Our goal is to announce move-in days by early May so that you would be able to know when those move-in dates are. After that, we will also announce when students will be able to go in and pick their specific move-in date and their specific move-in time. Students will also be able to register visitors, guests, family members that will come to help them move in. We know that's a very important step during the college experience, and we value that, and so we want to facilitate that. And so all that information, the specific dates and the process to select, will be available to students and families in the beginning of May. We know there's many questions related to student housing, what you should bring, mail and packages, etc. All that information is available on our website, and we will continue to update that and provide you information in our upcoming webinars.
Chris, there are several questions that are asking about the link to housing or having some challenges in accessing the housing link, to register. Can you all talk a little bit about that process?
Certainly. So students, if students are applying for student housing, there are two elements. One is they have to have paid the university deposit and the housing deposit. And so 48 hours after they've paid that those deposits, they will receive an email inviting them to apply for housing, informing them that they are able to apply for housing. That link, if somehow that email goes to spam, it's not a problem. If students go into their MyAU portal, they will find housing application there as well. And so they're able to click that and then go into our housing portal. Just making sure that the deposit has to be paid before we're able to open that portal. So if students are still facing any challenges, of course, please reach out to our office in multiple ways of contacting. You're welcome to email us at housing@american.edu, and I'll post that on the chat. You're welcome to chat with us Monday through Friday. We have colleagues that are available to chat with you and help solve that situation. You're also welcome to call us. And if you need, we're also able to do a Zoom call with you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Lots of questions about moving dates. We'll get to those, but financial aid, please.
Hi, welcome everybody. My name is Shirley McDonald, and I know that financial aid can seem so incredibly daunting, but I want you all to know, and I want to reassure everyone on this Zoom with us that we're here. Every student has an assigned financial aid counselor. So if you haven't reached out, if you don't know who they are, I'm letting you know that the address to find out who your financial aid counselor is listed right there on the bottom of the page. It's American/financial aid, all one word, /contact. And that's how you can get a hold of your person. And we want our students and families to feel supported. We know that there are many steps in this process. And so our kind of motto is, we're here to help. Come on, just contact us and we'll help you figure out each step of the way. What's next? Well, you're admitted, congratulations. You've decided that you're coming, hopefully. The next pieces are deciding what types of assistance you want to utilize in the upcoming year. And so that's logging into your portal, looking at your financial aid award, and then deciding, okay, yes, I want to take advantage of my federal work study, or yes, I want to accept my grant funding. Making sure that you read the acknowledgments and you understand what those commitments are. And then if you need assistance, for instance, if you have questions about the federal funding that's out there, the student loans that have been offered, we encourage you to reach out to us. You can call us directly. The telephone number of your counselor is listed for you. You can book an appointment now that's brand new with your counselor so that you have a set time where you can sit and discuss all your questions with your counselor, who will hopefully be with you through your journey here. So there are so many different pieces, and we know, especially given, this unprecedented time that we're in, that many of our students and families have experienced changes. And so we do have a process to address those changes in circumstances, those appeals, just to make sure that we're able to best support you and our students and families during your time here at AU. And lastly, we understand that understanding the basics of how to manage a budget, understanding what credit is, banking, all of those are fundamental pieces in our students' development. And so we do offer different sessions right on our website that talk about the basics of financial literacy, financial wellness. That's all part of it here at American. And we want you to feel like you can reach out and engage us anytime. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to my colleague, Janelle.
Great, thank you, Shirlene. Hello, everyone. My name is Janelle Clothier. I'm the director of AU Central. We are sort of your one-stop for a lot of this kind of business aspects of being a student at American University, primarily your bill. If you're using veterans educational benefits, we are the home place for your benefits. I wanted to just share with you a couple things. First and foremost, we have a team of cross-trained counselors that work collaboratively across campus with all of our partners to help support your students. Most notably, we pair our counselors with a first-year advisor. So you sort of have this double team that's supporting your student, one on the academic side and one on the business side. And so we're there for your students. Kind of the big things that I wanted to mention about your student's bill is it's linked to registration. So you're not going to see anything right now. So once your student gets registered in June, that sort of starts the ball rolling for what their bill is going to look like. And it's going to be very fluid over the course of the summer because as they register, as their housing is determined, as their meal plan is selected, as their financial aid, anticipated aid gets applied to the bill, it's going to be very fluid. But our goal is to have the most accurate bill right around August 1st. That's the bill due date. We bill by semesters, so you will pay fall semester August 1st, and then spring semester will be paid, it's typically the first week of January. Maybe interested, how do I how do I take a look at the bill? We don't mail paper bills. Your student will need to give what we call proxy access, and they can give it to anyone. So if grandma's going to help pay tuition, we can put grandma on the proxy list, and grandma can go in and look at the bill. But it's important that your student does that because it gives access to not only pay the bill, but also see the account activity, which is going to be really helpful to you as you're planning on planning to pay. So there are couple things I just want to mention. All of this is going to be in your student's checklist. So if I'm going fast and it seems like a lot, it's going to be in the checklist. But there are a couple different options for payment. We do have a payment plan, and the deadlines for the different months' payment plans will be available to you in the checklist. But we have a 5-month, a 4-month, and a 3-month. The very first deadline, of course, for the payment plan would be July 15th. Students have to sign up for that, and it's a $50 fee each semester. American does accept credit cards, Visa, MasterCard, and Discover. There is a finance service fee associated with that, and the same would apply if you were to use your debit card. We also accept e-checks, so that's, sometimes you may have set up something and you can use the routing number that's, if you still get paper checks, it's on the bottom of your checks. If you use an e-check payment, there's no fee associated with that, so that's good to know. For domestic students that are interested in wire payments, we accept those. You need to contact AU Central and we can help you with that. International students, if you'd like to pay your bill, we have partnered with Western Union Global Pay, and there's a link on our student accounts website that can help you make that wire payment. We also, of course, work with, if you've participated in a 529 pre-college payment plan, we are very familiar with them and we work with them. So if you have any questions about that, please let us know. The next thing I kind of wanted to run through quickly is we do offer tuition refund insurance. Students have an option to insure this pretty significant investment. If your student should need to withdraw through the course of the semester due to an illness, you could submit reimbursement for your tuition, your housing, any non-refundable cost. There's information, AU partnered with GradGuard Allianz to provide this, so you can select the level of coverage that's right for your family. AU does require our full-time degree residential and international students with J1 and F1 visas to have health insurance that meets the standards for a comprehensive plan here in the District of Columbia and for American University. Every student is automatically enrolled in the health insurance plan. So if you have comparable coverage that you think would be satisfactory, we do have a waiver process that will start in May. Again, this is a card in your checklist, but you want to definitely make sure you work on that because again, it's automatically on the bill. It's typically around $1,900. If your coverage is sufficient, we'll take that $1,900 charge off your student's account. So please keep an eye out for that. For those students using VA educational benefits, if you were to go to the AU homepage and type in VA student checklist, we've got a pretty significant I don't want to say significant, that sounds terrible. We have a checklist of the steps you need to take if you're going to be using VA educational benefits. On that same page, there's also a link in the left navigation for those students using Yellow Ribbon. And we have a kind of a quick questionnaire to make sure you're eligible for Yellow Ribbon. So that's that information. Is there any questions about VA educational benefits, veterans at american.edu? Finally, if you still have questions, there's a great resource called How Can We Help? It's help@american.edu. It's a wealth of knowledge articles about topics with direct links and contact information. And I know that was a lot, but it's all in your student checklist. And that's us from AU Central. Thank you.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, everyone. Karen, do you want to just take a minute and talk about how we connect with, how we're going to continue to connect with parents? And then I would like for us to go into a set of questions because there's several questions from our.
Sure, there are some questions, and y'all have kept me busy on the back end over here. We've heard from like very many of you. So I'm Karen Casella. I'm your parent and family engagement person. My contact information is here on the screen, as well as a snapshot of what you can expect to hear from us and the resources that we're here to provide you with. But I want to dive into these questions. A number of folks were asking for a little bit more clarity about Welcome Week. Chris, can you just kind of refresh for us when students will find out about when they can move in and what that date range might look for? A lot of folks are really keen to start making travel plans. So even if they can figure out what to block for on their calendar, I think that would help.
So the specific move-in dates and the move-in process by which students will select their space, that will be announced in early May. We are working through dates, and really it's a process of logistics and planning. And as we continue to improve the health and safety conditions here in the district, that's impacting, in our availability of having volumes of people on campus. And so students and families can expect that the week, at least a week preceding, if not perhaps a week or 2 weeks preceding classes, those will be when we have our move-in dates placed. But students and families should wait until we announce those dates in the beginning of May to commit specific move-in plans. As I mentioned, we will have specific move-in days and move-in time slots for students and families to select. And at that time, we'll also talk about the number of guests, family members that students are able to bring to campus. Again, our concern is to make sure that this move-in process is very efficient, as well as focused on the health and safety of the community.
And just for parents, for context, because I know you want to plan ahead and you want to make sure you get your flights and everything else. And we know that this is front and center of your mind. Part of what we're really wanting to make sure is, as we know how many students are coming, is really to be sure that we have a staggered moving period. We need to avoid at all costs tremendous density all at once in terms of campus, and making sure that for the buildings and everything that we have the kind of sort of manageable traffic and so forth. So we ask for your patience, because we know that this is something that you really want to get firmed up, and are eager to be able to have that on your calendar. And we promise that we'll get to you as soon as we can, and we're working out those logistics. So I just wanted to give you the larger context of this, because for anyone who's been through a moving on our campus, it is incredibly important that we have that be as smooth for you as possible. And so we want to make sure that we get that, we get that right. So more to come about that.
Thank you very much, Chris. And I apologize, families. I realize it may be confusing. I've referred to this as Welcome Week. It's All American Welcome. And that includes the move-in, as well as these kinds of events that Jen has spoken to that we're going to have as part of orientation, those chances to like connect with orientation leaders in person and meet advisors and do all those great fun activities. That's all part of the same time frame. And so schedules will come from housing about when to move in, and from orientation about what that schedule is going to look like. Most of those activities, parents, are going to be for your students, which is to say, families, we expect that you're kind of dropping your student off and finding a good time to say goodbye. And maybe you'll get to connect with me. I'll be there to greet you. But this isn't something that families should expect to stick around for a week for, right? You can say your farewells and then we'll say goodbye. There are questions, Brianna, that I want to pitch to you about how students might figure out if they're AP credits, IB credits, or math placement exams. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. On the admissions website, there is a link to how your advanced placement credit would come into AU. So you can see the exam that you have taken, the score that's required, and the course that it would satisfy. I saw a question about in the chat about calculus AP exams and whether or not a student would still need to take the math placement test if they have taken the Calc AP exam. Yes, all students will need to take the math placement test. AU core requirements are not able to be satisfied through the AP credits, but they will come in and can potentially go towards majors or minors, and all of them will come in as credits towards your 120 required credits for your overall degree.
Okay, while I still have you, Brianna, can you tell us again when students might expect to connect with their advisor this summer to register for fall classes?
Yes, the first year advisors will be reaching out to their students mid-May, and through mid-May through the rest of the summer, we will be working with you on into the fall semester.
Great, thanks. Charlene, I'm gonna pitch this one your way. I've got some families who are kind of curious about how they might help their students to develop a realistic budget so they can plan accurately for expenses. I know we've got tuition and fees outlined on the website, but what other kinds of things do they need to be thinking about?
So glad you asked that question because on our website, we not only list what we anticipate the direct costs to be, meaning the amount you're going to be charged for tuition, the amount you're going to be charged for housing and meals if you're living on campus, but also those indirect costs, the things that our students are going to need, like books, supplies, transportation, both to come to AU from whatever location you're traveling from, and then also while they're here, to explore the area, the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. And so that's all built into our cost of attendance. So when we speak to cost of attendance, we're looking at in total over the next 9 months of being here, how much will your student actually need in order to meet their needs. Now we tell our students that this cost is an average, right? So it's the standardized cost. For some students, it may be more if you're coming from overseas or from cross country. Your transportation cost is going to be greater than a student who's coming from the East Coast, for instance, right? And so just some of these things to keep in mind, looking at all the components and trying to figure out, okay, what exactly would this cost be for my student as a family? The other piece is, as part of the financial literacy offerings that we provide, there is a whole segment on a basic spreadsheet of, creating a budget. And then also understanding what each component stands for and how to manage finances. So globally, we have offerings on budgeting, but also specifically to AU, we have our cost of attendance that's listed that speaks to what will be on the bill and the things that you can anticipate incurring outside of what you're charged on the bill.
Thank you so much. Anne-Marie, I'm coming back to you about meal plan. I think you've seen the questions coming in chat. So a number of folks have been asking, like how easy is it to change that plan? What are the options available? We know that students living on campus have to be on a meal plan, but how do we know if that's enough? What do we do if we decide it's not enough?
Okay, so the 175 is an average of about 10 to 11 meals per week, knowing that some of our students will eat 2 meals, 3 meals, or 1 meal a day, depending on their class schedule, depending on going out socializing with friends. So we've tried to make that flexibility that they have that 175 block to be able to use throughout the whole semester. They are able to make adjustments to their meal plan. They can only go up, they can't go down, and they can do that up until September 13th. at the close of business on that day. So it's roughly about 12 days after classes start, they can decide, oh, you know, I think I'm going to be eating more, so I want the all access versus the 175.
Thank you. Ryan, there were some questions around how students are receiving information now. Maybe this is a good chance for us to reiterate the use of the american.edu email account. How do they get one if they haven't signed up for one yet? What does that look like?
Sure. So yeah, all official communications from the university will be going to their official AU email address. And that email address actually should be given to them the minute they create a MyAU account. So the minute they create that MyAU student account, they'll get their email address at that point as well.
Thank you. And I know Dr. All would join me in reminding families, you know, like really everything you can do to remind your students to open their emails from us, because all of the critical information is going to go to your student's email address. Now, families, if you're anxious about what you're hearing from us as parents, my email contact information is on this slide. It's auparent@american.edu. And over the course of the summer, we're going to transition and get you set up with getting our family newsletters. But Fanta, perhaps you can just share with families how we decide which communications go to students only and which ones go to the families as well.
I think to make it simple, rest assured that whenever we need students to take actions, the communication goes directly to the student. Because we really need the students to kind of be able to respond to that. And we also need to be able to authenticate that it is the student. And so that's incredibly important for us. Also, anytime there is something that is a personal, sort of personal nature, and where it includes confidential information, et cetera, know that it is going to the student. We will certainly be talking about this more at orientation, that there's proxy access that, you know, families will be able to have as families to be able to view certain information, et cetera, but know that that is one of the most important part of it, because a lot of times we'll hear from families that, you know, that information has not been shared or that it hasn't been received. And chances are that it's because the student either is not checking their AU email and has not forwarded their AU email to their Gmail or other account, so that they really can stay on top of that. So we really do need partnership and help to make sure at this time when communication is going to be vital, that we're getting all the information to the right place and that the key actions are being taken. And as Ryan said, we will be continuing to provide the newsletter. It's bi-weekly. What is sent to the student is sent to the families as well, with the action, with sort of the list of action items. And we really try to do that in a just-in-time fashion, so that you make sure that you're meeting the timetable for when action needs to be taken, so that we can really get this process as smoothly as possible. So we know there's a lot coming at you, but we need, and often the subject line will say time sensitive. It will indicate things to sort of say, please, please, we need you to open the inbox and to make sure that we are getting to the right place here.
Well, Dr. Ah, I'm paying attention to the time here, and I realize we're coming to the very end of our hour. Families, if there's questions that we didn't get to answer for you this evening, go ahead and send us an email to auparent@american.edu, and I'll make sure that myself or one of my colleagues here on tonight's panel will get you an answer just as soon as we can. I hope that you found this information useful. We're so glad that you and your student are planning to come to AU. I mean, I'm also a double eagle, so I couldn't be more excited to welcome you. And families, let me also give you a big shout out for all the work that you've done to help prepare your students for this moment. We could be more excited to have you join us.
And just again, on behalf of my colleagues, thank you for making time. As Karen said, I think the recurrent theme is for a lot of us, AU really has become home for many of us. Karen mentioned she's a double eagle, I'm a triple eagle. So we really come at this from multiple perspectives as professionals who worked at AU, but also we've gotten our education at AU. So it's a very special place on a lot of levels. And to our families who join us today and to my colleagues, we see this as a partnership. This is really a partnership. We're all vested in the shared success of our students. And we believe that in working together, we can really get there. And so please know and please be assured that this will not be the only time you'll hear from us. You will be hearing from us on a regular basis. As Ryan mentioned, the newsletters, as Karen mentioned, through AU Parents and Facebook and others will continue to communicate with you. And if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to any of my colleagues who are with us here this evening. We wish you well. Please be safe and please be well. And we look forward to continuing our partnership with you. Thanks again. Have a wonderful evening. And for some of you, I know you're in a very different time zone. So wish you all the best.